This is a Bulldog Radio podcast.
Perfect.
I was going to rip his heart out. I'm the best ever. I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been. There's no one can stop me. Lynx is a conqueror. No, I'm Alexander. He's no Alexander. I'm the best ever. There's never been anybody as ruthless. I'm Sonny Liston. I'm Jack Dempsey. There's no one like me. I'm from Nairclaw. There's no one that can match me.
This is Mikes and Takes episode 5. I'm here with Barrett today. I'm Travis. We're going to talk about some NFL and NBA, and you already know what time it is. It's rivalry week here in Big Rapids. Ferris State is playing Grand Valley. It's going to be a high-powered game, two ranked Division II teams, and it's going to be on Fox Sports. So first, before we get into all that, let's talk about these past games that happened in the NFL on Sunday. So the Texans beat the Jaguars 26-3 in London. What was your take on that game, Barrett?
So I believe Minshew Mania is over. I think there was some, thoughts in the air. Are we going to play Minshew? Are we going to play Foles? I think it's a clear-cut question now. You start Foles next week. Deshaun looking like a dog again, even though he's got one eye. He
did get kicked.
Right, he got kicked in the face. So I think it was really good. I hate the London games personally. Like, I'm not going to wake up just a little bit earlier. I know it's terrible for bettors. I know it's terrible for all your fantasy lineups because you got to set them all the night before. But, yeah, Texans roll on, and I believe Minshew Mania, not saying he's a bad quarterback, but he's going to be, he's going to take a few years to develop. It's good to see what we know from him now. But, having Nick Foles, a veteran, in there, they're not out of they're still in the hunt. It's officially in the hunt season. Those graphics are thrown up on the broadcast. But I think the Jaguars could still claw their way back having Nick Foles at the helm.
Honestly, I agree. I picked the Texans to win, so I was kind of happy. Deshaun played great. He was 22 of 28, 201 yards and 2 touchdown passes, no picks. Gardner Minshew, I think it's over. I think Nick Foles was always better. It's just the injury that would happen. And, his mustache, everybody was buying to the hype. But Nick Foles is a Super Bowl MVP, quarterback. So I just feel like if you want to make a run this year, you got to give it to them. But the Texans are honestly dangerous. I think that's a team that can compete with New England and Baltimore for the AFC and the Chiefs win because Patrick Mahomes is supposed to be back this week. His status is still uncertain, but the Texans look very good. I think they're starting to hit their stride. And as a Patriot fan, Tom Brady fan, I am worried because Deshaun is looking like very good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of mustaches, we can slide over to the Browns game. The Browns, I believe you have to put the done chain on them right now, Travis. Freddie Kitchens, Baker Mayfield, OBJ's winning out. They lose to the Broncos, who they don't even have a quarterback.
It was his first start.
It's his first start. Yeah, it's his first start in the NFL, and he beats a Browns team. Granted, they were on the road, but I mean, it's over now. I don't know. I just feel like you thought Browns fans all around the nation probably thought, we're finally going to get, we're going to contend. We're going to make it to the playoffs. We have all these weapons. No, man. It's 2-6, and you're sitting there, and it's crappy.
Sadly, I'm going to have to agree. I was on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon all year. On my fantasy team, he's just been awful. The team is just not lived up to expectations. OBJ's not happy. At the end of the game, he was wide open down the sideline. I don't know why Baker didn't make the throw. He's trying to make a double-team throw to Jarvis Landry, who was obviously covered. And it's just when I look at it, I'm just very disappointed for the city of Cleveland. Well, they're used to disappointments, LeBron and everything. But honestly, Kareem Hunt is back. He just got done serving his 8-game suspension. But I just think it's too late because the best you can finish is 10-6, and they would have to win the last 8. And I thought they could make a run, but they just lost, obviously you pointed out, to a guy who had his first ever career start for the Broncos. So, but Brandon Allen played great though. 2 TD passes, 12 of 20, 193 yards. But it's a sad fact. Baker, he's not lived up to expectations. I really don't think OBJ is happy with him. I think he might be on his way out, like you said. It's just sad because it's all these weapons, and I look at a guy like Tom Brady who's had all these guys injured, and Josh Gordon, as you know, just signed with the Seahawks. It's just like, why is Baker Mayfield not producing? You have Jarvis Landry, you got Odell, you're getting Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb has been amazing all year. You have Myles Garrett, all those guys on defense. Like, what is the issue?
Yeah, and I think it's really it comes down to like play calling and who's running the team during the drives. Freddie Kitchens, as we see, like that was Baker's guy, but it's starting to see that he's not. Like he's terrible, and Baker's he's playing emotional. He's walking out of interviews, stuff like that. But he's Freddie Kitchens is just terrible. Like I don't believe it's any of these players' fault on the field. Like they have all this talent. But, running the scheme that Freddie's put into place is, like, detrimental to all their careers, especially in Cleveland. And, you can't ship them all out. So who you're going to get rid of is Freddie.
Honestly, I agree. I think it might be time after the season, unless they make a go on a run to make the playoffs. It's just going to be too hard because all of it is not all on Baker. I do agree Freddie Kitchen has done a part of that because you had all these expectations. There were people even saying this team was going to make a Super Bowl.
Right.
I thought they could at least get to the divisional round, maybe the AFC title game, but that was like their ceiling for me. So I'm shocked to see, they didn't live up to the hype like they were supposed to. But I do honestly think it's a growing point, though. I think Baker, especially if they don't make the playoffs, he's going to be more determined to come back for year 3 next year to, make good. But they still have something to work with and try to, find some hope. Hopefully they can bounce back this week for all sakes for them. But I do admit I was wrong. Like, I really thought they were going to get off to a better start. But they also have played some hard teams, But then again, it's not even just the hard teams. You lose to the Broncos, but you beat the Ravens, who just beat New England.
Yeah, and it's like you can't. Man, it's just tough. Like I know the NFL is different week in and week out, but I mean having the load of talent you have and then not executing with it is so poor. I know you mentioned they beat the Ravens, and we can transition over to that game. Lamar, like the Ravens are not frauds anymore. Like they are. I think they're a legitimate contender for
I agree.
Stuff like that. I think what you want to be worried about if you're Lamar Jackson and company is did you show Bill Belichick too much of your offense, and he's going to be sitting back, like he's going to have all these files and he's going to be looking at all these tendencies, and even like the media he was tipping plays with his flag and stuff. Like I just don't know how Bill doesn't pick up on this. So I'm thinking. He's so woke that he just wanted to lose. Bill wanted to lose. He didn't want. I think he was.
I don't think he wanted, to lose. I think they're very competitive. They want to win every game. But Bill Belichick, I can agree with this point. There's probably they had a 16-0 season, and they lost in the Super Bowl. So in a way, that could have been like on his mind. To be honest, we can't overlook that. But I don't think he was trying to lose on purpose. I do think they did get outplayed. But one thing they can build from this is, they're going to look at film, like you said, especially if they meet this team again. So they're going to be more prepared. Everybody's counting New England out because they had, quote-unquote, such an easy schedule. But I think, this was a good thing for New England because now when they see each other in the playoffs, and if New England continues to win and has a better record, that game will be at home. And it's going to be hard for me to see Lamar Jackson winning in Foxborough in the playoff game. He did play great against Tom Brady. He outplayed the GOAT, but I think Brady's going to be back. And people keep counting out Brady, but he's going to prove you wrong in the postseason.
Brady does it every year.
Yeah, they wait until around December, around that time, January, get the 2 home playoff games because they usually always get a bye week because they win the division. Then he just shows you why. Like, he proved it last year in the AFC Championship game, and he had a 6-game winning drive to go along with a 6th ring last year in the Super Bowl. But this was a great win for the Ravens. They definitely look good. Lamar is in the MVP conversation. He's 3rd for me right now behind Russell Wilson 1 and Christian McCaffrey a close 2. But yeah, this was a great win for them. And now I think New England is going to go in the bye week and try to find more of a spark. But people also got to think they don't have Josh Gordon. Antonio Brown didn't work out. He's trying to throw to Julian Edelman. And he's trying to mainly throw to running backs Rex Burkhead, James White, Bolden. So he doesn't have really much weapons to work with.
He doesn't have any weapons. And I think Mohamed Sanu is now finally coming into the mix. I know he didn't really make an impact his first week with the team. So I believe he caught a touchdown in this game.
He caught his first touchdown.
Right, caught his first touchdown as a Patriot. And so you have to. That's one upside if you're a Patriots fan. The Ravens are they're not a fluky team, but they're not. Like, I believe the offense was described at the start of the year as very unorthodox. So maybe that's what threw Belichick off. But he being the genius, the wizard of the game, he's gonna find something to stop it. Either playing, man on the outside, being nickel, more of that. Maybe stacking the box, stuff like that. A whole spy on Lamar the whole game to prevent him from running. So, I think Belichick's going to take care of it. I would be very surprised if the Ravens, if they do meet in the playoffs, that the Ravens beat the Patriots again.
At least that convincingly, too. And also I wanted to point out, they ended a streak. Brady and Belichick won 21 straight games against the young first- or second-year quarterbacks. So that was impressive. And, I agree with you. I think, it's going to be hard to beat New England twice. But Lamar definitely, played good. But New England's going to bounce back, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess we can switch over to the Packers and Chargers. Are the Packers done as well? Every NFC North team lost this week, so it's a big downer for the division, I guess. And there was an interesting stat I actually saw today. The Packers are 0-7 against games following the daylight savings time.
I did not know that.
So that is a wonderful stat if you were betting on them next year or next Sunday. I just can't believe the Chargers came in there. I believe the Packers were, I think, almost 2 touchdowns points favorites. And
they were.
And they get not even just no. I think they had 135 yards of offense the entire game. And I mean, I have to imagine. You didn't see it on the sidelines, but behind closed doors, you have to see the Packers. Adam LaFleur. No, it's not Adam LaFleur. Who is it?
Oh, Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers are definitely probably bickering and arguing, the whole time, and it's just another. Aaron Rodgers is a coach killer.
Well, I mean, I sadly have to disagree. I think. They did play flat, on Sunday. I watched that game. The offense just didn't look that good. But I do think they honestly just had one bad game, and you have those from time to time. But Aaron Rodgers had a terrific month of October. They didn't lose a game. That was their first loss since late September. But the Chargers are also getting everyone healthy, and people forget this team went 12-4 last year. This is a good team. Melvin Gordon's getting healthy. Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback. He was 21 of 28 for 294 yards last game with no turnovers. So they are a good team. They're getting everyone back healthy. But the Packers, this is a game they should have won. I just think they just came out a little flat. Rodgers, Aaron Jones, they didn't all play that well. But this is not a sign of, I would say, worry just yet unless they lose back-to-back, which I don't really see that happening. But Packers, I mean, they're a good team. Obviously, I would love to see them lose, being a Lions fan. But, actually talking about the Lions, we came out short again. We lost the game that we should have won. And the thing I don't understand, we play close games with the Chiefs. We beat the Chargers, who just beat the Packers, but we lose to a team like the Raiders. And we tie with the Cardinals. It's just... It
is so frustrating. I can't describe the pain I was feeling when I saw the final play of not even having Galladay or Marvin on the field for our final. Even us coming out of a timeout, I just don't understand how we can, as an offense, just even think that's even the right thing to do. I know they were keen on them, but we have the height advantage on the outside. Their corners are 5'10". Galladay is 6'5". Marvin, I believe, is 6'4". So, man, it's just so tough to me to see that our final play is going to Logan Thomas, who is still has a height advantage, but man, it's terrible. Stafford, I still don't believe Stafford's out the MVP conversation.
Stafford's playing great.
Right, he's floating there. He had one. I believe it was a tipped interception. So
he still had 3 touchdown passes.
Right, he still had 3 touchdowns and 400 yards. So it's not a bad day at the office.
And the thing is, it's not his fault. Stafford's playing great. It's really just the defense and the guys around him. Because for years I've been supporting Stafford. And I've been trying to tell people, I'm Stafford is, the guy we need. He just doesn't have the guys around him. We've always had a bad offensive line. He's never really had the wideouts besides Calvin, Golden Tate, and neither of them are still here anymore. And we're just losing teams we should beat. The Raiders, I know people are saying they're 4-4, they're 500, but that's the team we should have beat. And it's just a sad fact, like you said, the last play to lose on a play like that. And we should have won, and they scored on the crucial when it was 24-24. They got a touchdown pass on 3rd and goal, I believe, from the 8. That was a play, we should have got to stop where it at least could have been 27-24, and we could at least got a field goal, then maybe send it to overtime or get the game-winning touchdown. But we got to put Stafford in better situations. If you have a very bad defense and a very bad offensive line, what do you want them to do? And Kerryon Johnson's not playing, so we got to look at It's just sad.
It's tough. Like I know we have I think Joe Smo running the ball for us this week. I mean it's McKissick definitely get the load along with Ty, but looking at we spent all this money, and I'm a big Quinn supporter. I believe Bob Quinn knows what we're doing. I know, if you look at the Reddits of the Lions fan, it's hate flowing down on him. But yeah, we've spent a bunch of money on the defense this year with Trey Flowers and Coleman. But I think that we just need. Health is a huge concern for us. But I think in the draft we got some young guys right now in our camp that could be really good for us in the long run. Will Harris is a good guy. Walker, he was hurt. I don't believe he played. Slay, he'll stay with us. I have no problem with that. And we have Coleman locked down for 5 years. So I think just having – I really was surprised that Josh Jacobs ran the ball on us so well that he did.
Yeah, he had
2 touchdown game, I believe. So, it's really tough to see how –
28 carries, 120 yards. He was terrific.
Yeah, he was a dog. But it's just tough, Deshaun Hand, he got hurt midway through the game. Already leaves us one person short in our rotation. That's already weakened as itself. I just really hope that we can turn around here. You're right. This was a game that we needed to win, and it's really unfortunate that the Lions couldn't pull this one out because now we're sitting here at 3-4-1. The 1 really actually helps us. As many people think it's not.
Our playoff chances are slim. We would really need to go 7-1 just to have a chance.
Right, we can only suffer. We can only suffer one more loss.
We've already lost to the Packers and Vikings, and we're more than likely not going to catch them. Luckily for us, the Bears have been bad. And I did want to touch on one thing. I think Mitchell Trubisky, I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. As sad as it is to say, he's been pathetic, and it's just sad to see such a great, honestly, Super Bowl defense not have the offense to complement them at all. He's been awful. He's been terrible. Honestly, I think people keep saying should they get rid of Matt Nagy or Mitch Trubisky. Really, just let Mitch Trubisky go. You need to either trade for a QB or just try to sign one because I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. At least on a championship team, not at all.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree with you on that. When the Bears played the Eagles, lost them 22-14. I believe unless I'm wrong, the stat was the first half offense had only 9 yards.
They had 9 total yards.
9 total yards. So that was one. There was 8 teams that had 9 yards on their first play, at the start of the week 9. So it blows my mind. Bears fans have to be punching air right now. They're just so disappointed.
This is the guy they traded up. They drafted over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
Right. They went up to get him, and it just doesn't make sense. Thankfully, Montgomery did okay, and these are only solo touchdowns of the game. So, but it's terrible. The Bears, I believe the Bears were projected to, you could win the division. Them and the Packers. Yeah. And
their team, I thought,
3-5.
Yeah,
right.
Their team at the beginning of the season, I thought, could maybe make the Super Bowl. They went 12-4 last year. They sadly lost in that game against the Eagles, where Cody Parker, hit the goalpost and missed the field goal. But this is a team that can contend. But I think it might be too late right now because it's too late to trade for Mr. Stravinsky because the deadline already passed. But they got to do something in the offseason. I don't know if they see potential. They might see something we all don't see, but he's just been very bad. And I don't know, how do you expect to win games when your offense constantly getting 7, 10, 14 points?
Right, yeah, you can't win. I mean, the defense, give the credit to them. They held it with a team under 25, but just looking at, I don't know, it's just terrible. I love it because I'm not a Bears fan, I'm a Lions fan, but it's tough to see how an organization had so much high hopes. And then now they're out here just at 3-5, which is what the Lions could more than well they could have been. You might as well chalk that loss up for that tie for a loss. But yeah, the Bears, they're terrible. Lions play them this next week. We'll talk about that coming up. But yeah, it's very tough for them. I believe you're right. Mitch has to go.
And one last thing for the NFL, I wanted to touch on the cat. Monday Night Football.
Right.
Cowboys and Giants. That was crazy. Honestly, I never thought of a team with more bad luck than the Giants. Like that was crazy. They've been bad this year. Daniel Jones hasn't. I think he's going to get better over time. But the Cowboys are winning games they're supposed to win. But I still don't think they're a threat in the NFC as far as making it out the NFC at all. They still can't beat the good teams like I don't believe. I mean, they did lose to the Saints. I don't believe they can beat teams like the Seahawks, and all the above, like the Rams, who are still kind of contenders, and 49ers, teams of that nature. Yeah,
no, the Cowboys, they're playing you're right. They just play like these on and off games where they'll be really hot, or they'll play. They lost against?
They lost to the Jets.
Right, they lost to the Jets.
Sam Darnold said he's seen ghosts.
Right, so the Jets, the Jets are terrible. Like Miami handed them, Jets gave Miami their first win, and so So what you're telling me? The Dolphins are better than the Cowboys because they lost to the Jets. So
the Jets lost to a team that's trying to lose football.
Right,
games.
they're trying to lose. Brian Flores down there is he's really trying everything in his might to he's 14-0 against the Steelers on Monday night, and then they don't score another touchdown, another point the entire time. And I don't know, the Cowboys. You're right. I don't think they're the real deal, especially if they were going against the Seahawks or the 49ers. Especially, so I think they're just fake. They're
to
frauds.
be honest, and I'm a Dak fan, but I just, they need Zeke to continue to help carry the offense, and they're just not really a threat like that to me. I mean, they're a good team; they'll stay in the middle of the pack, but I just don't think they need to stop the America's team because it's not. They haven't won championships since the 90s.
Yeah, it's real. So. It's really wishy-washy. Did you want to switch over?
Yes, to the NBA. We had some exciting games last night. So the Lakers won their 6th straight game. LeBron had his 3rd straight triple-double. Very impressive. He had 30, 11, and 10 in just 35 minutes of play. But this was a game they were losing mainly the whole game. They had to make a late quarter run against the Bulls, which they did end up winning. They have the best record currently right now, and LeBron and AD are both playing amazing. LeBron is showing why, he's a great player. And I can't lie, he is playing the best basketball right now. He is the best current player. But I still believe, like I said last week, well, actually, I got to take that back because I said Kawhi's the best player, and I still believe that. And I believe Kawhi and the Clippers are still going to get them in the end, but I can't deny what the Lakers are doing right now, though.
Yeah, AD also sent waves prior to the game. A reporter asked him about free agency. He called Chicago the Mecca, which is weird because it's not the Mecca.
I agree. He's just from Chicago, so
right? That's why he said
biased.
it. A big homer. So, but he left the door open, saying to the reporter, "Who knows? I'm a free agent next year. Who knows where I could go?" So either he's trying to do his own Kevin Durant stint or copycat. And I'm not entirely sure, but he did leave the door open for him playing in Chicago for his hometown.
I do think if they don't win a championship, there's a definitely possibility of him leaving.
Oh, for sure.
I do think the one thing that will keep him to stay is a championship. I don't see a Kawhi Leonard situation, how the Raptors won last year. And we still knew Kawhi was leaving because he didn't really want to be in Toronto. He was kind of forced there because he was trying to get out of San Antonio. But Anthony Davis, it could be interesting. I think this really is, in a way, it could be looked at. Some people might think it's crazy as LeBron's last chance as a championship. Because if the Lakers don't win this year and Anthony Davis leaves, what are they going to do? Because the Clippers are going to still be intact. You're still going to have the Bucks. You're still going to have the Sixers, the Rockets, and all these other good teams like the Jazz and Blazers. I don't know what the Lakers honestly got to do. This is something I think is very vital for them to make a championship run this year. Because if they don't and they lose Anthony Davis, I don't know what LeBron's going to try to do because he's 34. He knows he's towards it. Even though LeBron's playing great and he's not washed up by any means, he doesn't have a long period of time left, and he knows that. So, I think it's very important for them to try to win a championship because if they don't, this could be LeBron's last really good chance too.
Yeah, and I know he's got his goal to play with his son, Bronny, who didn't want to put any pressure on. He didn't want to put any pressure on him, by the way. But he wants to, he made that clear earlier in the year that he still wants to achieve that goal to play with his son on an NBA floor for one game. Whether LeBron has his walker out there or not, he could definitely, he could probably still achieve that, but I don't think he's going to win a championship with his son.
No.
There's he's so, not like he's old now, but he's playing at like such a low motor pace. You're just playing at a burst as opposed to just constantly running around as you see for like Devin Booker or Kawhi, for example, him running around constantly.
And I know people keep making a big deal like, why is Kawhi doing the load management? Yeah, it's like, first of all, people, he's had a various amount of injuries, more than LeBron. So that's why, even though it sucks like he is sitting on nationally televised games, the Clippers and Doc Rivers, you got to be cautious with him. This is a guy who's a 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. You won him there in May, in June when you're trying to make this run for a championship. So especially with Paul George out, I believe the Clippers are doing the right thing, keeping him, with the load management thing going and trying to make sure, to keep him safe because you don't want him to get hurt. So I do understand that. I know some people don't understand it, but LeBron did the same thing last year, even though he did it when the season was basically over. But I just think that, that's something interesting to look at. But the Lakers are at top of the West and the top of the league right now, so I do give them that. And we'll just see how the season plays out. But one team I want to talk about that's not getting talked about as much as the Boston Celtics. They're one of my favorite teams. They're 5-1 right now. I try to tell people Kemba is going to fit well in the system better than Kyrie did. He's not a better player than Kyrie, not by any means, but he fits in Brad Stevens' system, I feel like, better. And Gordon Hayward, man, 39 last night.
Dude, it's
17
like
to 20.
It's crazy because he's doing it against the Cavs where he had that, I believe, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, he had that just devastating injury that made us all cringe on opening night. Mm-hmm. So I guess it all just comes full circle that, last year he came back and I don't think he was his full self, and that was apparent in his performance. Now I think he's back with another year of therapy and rest, and he's tuning his body back up, and it shows. Like last night, a 39-7 and 8, so it's
17 of 22.
Right, 17 for 20. So it's not like he wasn't even just jacking up a bunch of shots. He was super efficient and had played almost like second most minutes in the game.
Yeah, he was very impressive. I'm happy to see him back because people forget he was an all-star in Utah his last year, their 2016-2017 season, where he got them to the second round of the playoffs before losing to the then championship Warriors back in 2017. But he's been good. I just think Boston's going to be, honestly, a threat in the East this year. I still believe the Bucks are going to come out, but Boston's going to be in the higher seeding. I believe they'll be a top 4, possibly top 3 seed. They're going to be a good team. I mean, Kemba is playing good. He had 25, last night. Jason Tatum's getting better. He had 18. And they're winning good games. And their only loss is against a Sixers team who was the last unbeaten until, they lost to the Suns, a team that you said is going to make the playoffs. And I can't lie, they're looking good. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I love what I'm seeing from Devin Booker.
My man, I was hoping, because I'm looking in the games tonight, in our mix tonight. They're not playing tonight, but let me tell you right now, the Suns are for real. Devin Booker and company right now is handing L's to everyone who is undefeated. I mean, it's dude. I'm telling you right now. They play the Heat. They play the Heat tomorrow, which is also a very hot team. The Nuggets dished them an L last night, but the Heat is a really good team. It'll be a good test for the Suns. I just want my free dinner, dude. That's all I'm saying. But
I don't think it's going to happen.
Dude, I'm telling you right now. The Suns they're looking really good right now. They got all these players that you don't know that are just there.
I pay attention to the Suns. But Barry, you got to listen. They're just not. If they were in the East, maybe, but we're talking about the Western Conference here.
We just got to get to the playoffs. That's all we got to do. We just got to scrape into the 8th seed.
We got the Lakers. We got the Clippers. We got Portland. We got Utah. We got San Antonio and a number of other teams.
I want to listen to these last 4 games. Listen to these last 4 games. You ready? Ready? Clippers. Beat them.
Kawhi didn't play, but go ahead.
Suns. Warriors. Beat them.
Come on.
76ers. Beat
Joel
them.
Embiid was suspended, but go ahead.
I mean, listen. I know they're catching all these teams at the greatest spots in their time.
Honestly, I do agree. Those are honestly all 3 of those games that you said. Even though they were missing somebody, those are still good wins because they're beating teams that were in the playoffs. I do give you that. Devin Booker's looking determined. A lot of people were trying to give him crap from the summer when they were in that pickup game with Joakim Noah. I don't know if you saw, and he didn't like the double team. They're like, oh, Devin Booker doesn't like getting double team. But in reality, he wanted to prepare for the season. So I agree. I mean, They're playing good. Hopefully I'll get the free dinner, but I'm not going to lie. I am a little nervous, but it's still early.
I'm
so
really curious how they're winning because I'm looking at the roster, and I know we talked about it last podcast, but it's Booker, Rubio, Ayton, I believe, is still on suspension. Yeah. Kelly Oubre, Mikal Bridges, Javon Carter,
Just
Sarge.
Imagine when Ayton gets back.
That's what I'm saying. They have Ty Jerome, and I believe he plays a little part in their offense, but... Man, I tell you what right now, this has got 8 seed written all over it.
Well, we'll see. Well, let's hop into our hometown, the Detroit Pistons. We play the Knicks tonight. We're coming off a loss to a sad, very bad Wizards team, but we're 3-5. They're 1-6, so I believe we should hopefully get the win tonight. We are missing Tim Frazier, and Derrick Rose is out again for his third straight game with a hamstring injury. I we have a good team. I know we don't have Blake Griffin right now.
Oh, man. It's terrible.
I'm just still sticking with my prediction. I still think at best this is a 7th or 8th seed team. We're not like what people say. We're not. I believe we're not a top 5 team in the East at all. I think we're at best 7th or 8th. We also still got to see what we look at full strength. But some of our losses, come on, man,
dude. What kills me the most is that we don't give Jordan Bone, the Tennessee guard, who had the fastest, he was the fastest times in a lot of the stuff at the combine. But, it kills me that we don't give him a chance. Bruce Brown, he's kind of is a point guard, but he turns the ball over so much.
Way too much.
Dude, I love having Tim Frazier, and I wish he'd play tonight because he's not that great, but he's pretty, he's smooth with it,
I like Tim Frazier. Honestly, I agree. I wish D Rose was playing tonight because he got such a hot start.
He just adds another layer to our offense.
And one thing I can't agree, even though Sean's not here on this episode to debate with us, I honestly agree with his point. Fully healthy. We don't know what they could do. Maybe they can make a run. We haven't seen it yet. So when Blake, Reggie, Tim Frazier, and Derrick Rose are all back, hopefully, we'll be pretty good. But I can't lie, I do like what I'm seeing from Christian Wood. He's been impressive. I think Luke Kennard's going to still get better over time. I think there is hope for us fans, in Detroit for sure. But, we just got to wait and see. The Pistons, like most of our Detroit teams, we're very unpredictable. So we look good on paper sometimes, but we don't always showcase it in person. So hopefully we get a win tonight and hopefully string along some wins to get some motivation going to stay in the right direction.
Yeah, and Luke's looking really good this year. I think he's finally coming into his form that he was at Duke. Tony Snell has actually been a really good surprise. I think he's shooting fairly well from behind the arc. Markieff Morris, who is just that old veteran, he does an okay job. You're right. I wish Christian Wood would get the start tonight. Just because he has so much potential. He shoots the 3. He's so gritty when
Versatile.
He plays. Yes, he can put the ball on the floor and make a move to the basket. I am so pumped that the Pistons finally got a person who was kind of an unsung hero, and a gem that we finally will keep. I'm so scared that we're gonna do this thing where we're gonna develop him into a very good player and then trade him away, as we did to Spencer Dinwiddie, or let him walk like we did with Middleton. So you're right. I really hope we can't tell what they look like right now. They don't have all the pieces in place, but the skeleton's kind of there. So it'll be good to see. I hope the Pistons are going to win tonight. It'll be good. Yeah,
I agree. I hope we do win tonight. And one game I do want to talk about is the Jazz and Sixers. I think this is going to be a very good game. Sean's favorite team, the Utah Jazz.
Jazz, yeah. Mike Conley.
Mike Conley, as he always says. Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, they've been very good. I think this is a winnable game. They're at home, especially with Joel Embiid still suspended. The Sixers, they're very good. I do think, me personally, I really wanted Jimmy Butler to stay, even though I do like the moves they made in the offseason with Josh Richardson and Al Horford. They've been very vital and very good. They're going to be one of the best teams in the league for sure. Just throughout the entire season, I believe it's going to be them and the Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals. But the Jazz, they're looking good too. It just kind of sucks for them because they're in a conference with all these great teams where you probably won't, unless injuries happen, God forbid, see them make a really big impact. But Donovan Mitchell, I love what I'm seeing from him. I think they're going to win tonight. I think they're going to beat the Sixers at home tonight.
Yeah, that's a bold statement. I really have to agree with you. I believe Embiid's out one more game, correct?
Yeah, he's out tonight.
He's out tonight. So, I mean, they could definitely attack the basket, not having that that rim protector with Embiid in there. But yeah, I think you're right. I think it's still Sixers Bucks at the top there, the East, and you're right. It is unfortunate for the Jazz to have like such talent on your team, and then you're probably not even good enough in the top 9 because of just how deep the West is.
Yeah, the West is so deep, and you got all these great teams. It's just really hard to really look at it. It's like, damn. I mean, like you really want to give like the Jazz like a shot, but it's just all these good teams in the West. The East is like a little bit more different because you could be a weaker seed and get in. But as I look at the West right now, you have teams like the Lakers, the Nuggets, your Suns, the Clippers, Mavericks, weird. Timberwolves,
the Suns,
Jazz, and Rockets. I still don't think they'll make the playoffs, but that's back in our last segment. But you got all these great teams. Trailblazers, even the Thunder look good. I'm really shocked. Chris Paul still has it. Honestly,
yeah, I know. I totally forgot he was tucked away there. He totally forgot about that.
This might not happen, but this is just a bold prediction by me. If Chris Paul were to get traded this season, I would love to see him in Milwaukee. I think him and Giannis with Chris Middleton, I think that would put them over the top and make them a serious threat to win the championship.
Yeah, I think that'd be a perfect landing spot for him. I believe Milwaukee has the picks. So with getting the trade with Brogdon,
and this is something that could possibly happen because OKC's in rebuilding right now, and Milwaukee's trying to win a championship, and Chris Paul's towards the end of his career, so he wants to win a championship. I just think this is a great idea. He's 34, so he definitely wants it. I know a lot of people said Miami. I think that would be a good fit too with Jimmy Butler, but I just don't think that's a championship. But if you trade him to Milwaukee, him and Giannis. Yeah, I think that's dangerous.
It's dangerous. Speaking of Milwaukee, they do play the Clippers tonight. No Kawhi. Doris Burke spoke about her opinion on the load management thing tonight. As we talked about earlier, let the man rest. He's gone through injuries. Super smart to play through that whole. You don't need to play him against this. Yeah, it's Bucks. It's prime time.
Yeah, finals matchup.
Right. Yeah, it's NBA Wednesday. Listen, you do what you do what's good for you.
And I know I've seen a lot of analysts this morning on ESPN talk about how they hate it because it's bad for the fans. And honestly, it is to an extent, but at the same time, Kawhi has to protect himself, so you really have to pick and choose. But in the playoffs, he's obviously going to play every game, and this is a guy who's injury prone. I'm a huge fan of Kawhi, and I do think by the end of the season he will show why he's the best player in the league. But, I mean, you do have to be cautious with them. Certain games you might want to, be like, maybe not tonight. That's why they established such a good overall team. You still have other guys. You still got Pat Bev, Montrezl Harrell. They're going to get Paul George back. Landry's been very good. So I do, it kind of sucks as a fan because, you buy the ticket for the game. It's like, damn.
Right.
Like,
I mean, they're still going to go see Giannis, so it's not like they don't have a show there. But you're right. I just think, I don't know. You do what's good for you, especially with the history that he has and the amount of. It's weird that he's not playing tonight. Maybe because he doesn't want him to go as hard against maybe a good team. Usually, what you do is you load manage against not the Suns, of course, because they're the best team in the NBA.
Well, maybe the
Kings, the Kings, or
he did load manage against the Suns actually.
No. But yeah, wait a minute, that's terrible. The Suns are a threat in the West. No, they're not.
No, I do agree with what you're saying because it's like, why would you, man? And this is the second time because it's been another game where he didn't play.
Yeah, it's his third time doing it this year, I believe.
Yeah, because he didn't play against the Jazz too. So, I don't really understand. I'm not in the Clippers organization, so. But when you look at it, he does need his rest. But, yeah, it does suck for the fans because we're there to see the product. You're there to watch Kawhi Leonard play. He's the one selling, the tickets. So, but hopefully, they just have to be cautious with him. And I know a lot of Laker fans are, trolling them saying, oh, LeBron's in year 17. He's not load managing. But, they just have a short memory from last year, obviously.
Right. Yeah, what? Yeah. Well, maybe the Kawhi thing goes back to the stint where he doesn't trust the doctors that he did in San Antonio about his knee. And maybe, that's his leverage that he has. He's built that up. He's been very outspoken about that. That's what maybe the organization has heard around the whole league, maybe Pops reached out to Doc and maybe said, hey, this is how you handle it. And, let him do his load management whenever he wants, I guess. But I guess having, obviously he's not going to do it in playoff time when playoffs come around. So I guess it doesn't hurt to play. I know the old heads are probably going to say that's really soft, that he's not.
Yeah, all the old heads always try to critique it, but it's just it's a different game now.
Yeah.
It's not the same as what it was back then.
Right, there's a 3-point line. So, yeah.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, let him do whatever he wants. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, you're going to pay what you get for it, yeah. But you're still going to get to watch Giannis tonight. As an LA fan, I wouldn't be bugging about that.
Now, we did talk about some NFL and NBA, but it is rivalry week here in Big Rapids, and our Ferris State Bulldogs, we're playing Grand Valley for the Anchorbone Classic. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm excited for it. Fox Sports is going to be here. We have a 12 o'clock noon start. I think it's a great game. We're number 2 in the country. They're number 14, so playoff implications, are on it. This is a game, if we do win, we will be outright GLIAC champions for a second straight year, which is very cool, guarantees us a bye. I think it's going to be a good game. Bias, I believe Ferris is definitely going to win. J. Rue has been great all season. I love what Anise is doing, allowing Evan Cummings and Travis Russell, who also won GLIAC Player of the Week last week. And Ferris also became the first school to have 3 different quarterbacks win GLIAC Player of the Week, with J. Rue, Evan, and Travis each getting it once. So I just think, we're going to be good. Our defense is clicking. We've had 8 of our 9 wins we've allowed teams under 20 points. So I think it's going to be great. Grand Valley's had a good season. They're 8-1. Obviously the one loss on the Hail Mary from Ashland. But I believe we're going to win this game. I think it's going to be hype.
Yeah, and it's actually a real special one. This is actually the 50th meeting between the teams in school history. So this is pretty cool. The last 2 games, they've been actually really close. We won 35-31 and then 28-27 in 2017. But and
last year we won on I don't know if you remember, we won on the trick play by J. Rue. It was 4th and down. We were down most of the game. And we had the trick play pass to J. Rue, and he ended up getting the game-winning touchdown. That was very cool to win in Grand Valley like that. And that's when each team was number 2 and number 3 in the country. So I'm excited.
I'm pumped. We got all the tailgating is going to be really hype. I know you're covering the game, and unfortunately, I'll be excited for the game. My tailgating starts at 8:00, baby. So it's going to be really fun, and then it's almost like a second homecoming. Honestly, it's even more hype. I think it's even more hype for than homecoming. It's going to be, you're buying your tickets online ahead. You're not doing that for any game here. They're bumping up the tickets. They're bringing in stuff. As you said, Fox Sports Detroit's covering this game. Yeah. It's going to be huge. It'd be awesome for I don't see the Bulldogs, their defense has been solid all year. As you mentioned, behind the center, versatile with every kind of different style. Russell, Evan, Russell, Cummings, and Campbell, they all have different styles. I think Cummings runs the ball a little bit better in that power read,
definitely
power read kind of setting. I think J. Rue's got the arm. He's more of a scrambler, but I really don't know who's their stud down there at Grand Valley. I know they graduated a few guys last year, but I definitely think it's gonna be really high. It'd be devastating if they come into our home and then they beat us. Campus vibe would be kind of bummed. But it'll be super hype if we win this Saturday.
Definitely, it's going to be a great game. Obviously, I wish I could tailgate with you, but I am going to be covering the game. This is another home game. I'm getting a chance to cover, so I'm excited to do that with Fox Sports. Meet those people. And I think it's just going to be fun, for not just us, but the students and the community of Big Rapids. A lot of alumni, people are going to come show their support. This is a great team. A lot of people from GV are going to be there. Tickets are already selling out, as our AD already said. GV's had a good defensive line most of the season. I'm looking at the numbers. A lot of their wins have been, blowouts. They've held a lot of teams under 20 points majority of the games of the season, besides, I believe, 3. Mm-hmm. So, outside of the Hail Mary loss to Ashland, this is a team that could be undefeated, and we could meet maybe later on in the playoffs, but we have won 6 out of the last 7 meetings in the Anchor Bone Classic, so I'm feeling very confident. I believe Giroux and them are going to take us home. Like, we're coming off a 52-0 win over
in
Michigan.
the snow at Tech.
Like you said, in the snow at Michigan Tech. And this is a team, Grand Valley, they only beat Michigan Tech 21-16. I know that might not have a big deal to do with the game, but, that's, something that's to look at. We've been blowing out a lot of teams outside of our first game versus Finland, where we only won 24-23. A game in Giroux didn't play, but I think it's going to be electric, exciting. It's a great day for Bulldog sports in general. We have a basketball game at 4 and hockey game at 8 o'clock, so it's going to be filled with great wins. Hopefully, be 3-0 on the day. I'm excited. I believe we're going to win. I think this is huge going to the playoffs, so I believe we'll get the dub.
Yeah, and it's super important for Ferris football because if we do win, we do get the number 1 seed in the Super Regional, number 3. Or Super Region number 3, I'm sorry. But having that bye, I think, will give Coach Anise and them a good amount of rest with time. I know, talking to some of the football players on campus, they were excited to go home and see their family. Being in football, you don't really get a lot of downtime. You're either in meetings or you're lifting or you're practicing. So I think it'll be good for if the Bulldogs do get the win this Saturday to get that bye week. Lick your wounds if you have any. Rest. Just get your minds right. Come down here and let's make a championship run.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Obviously, we want them to make it back to Texas and hopefully win the national championship this time. So I believe this game is huge. Not only a rivalry game like we talked about earlier, you alluded to the playoff implications. And this is big, to get that week of rest, to get your mind ready for the playoffs. Because it's a long grind. They start basically like in May, and the national championship wouldn't be even until December. So it's a long grind, it's a long season. They got to get mentally prepared. Anise has done a great job with the guys, keeping them, in contact, making sure they're family, and, just making sure, bring your brother up. But one thing I love when I interview Anise, he always talks about picking each other up. When somebody makes a mistake, he always says good play, bad play, next play. And that's something you should really, that's something that's really motivating because, there is a good play, a bad play, and a next play. So you got to move on. And that's very moving to me, and I believe they'll be good for Saturday. I believe the extra week rest is going to be good, just to rest up your body to get mentally prepared for the playoffs. It's going to be good. It's going to be a fun Saturday. I can't wait for it. Everybody should come that can make it. Big time rivalry game.
Everybody should be.
Biggest game in Division II by far is football week in Michigan.
I mean,
baby.
they're trying to break the record right now. I'm looking at my phone. They had the attendance record that was set at, I believe it was 12,000 in 1993 when we played Saginaw Valley.
Right.
That's when both teams were really crazy. I'm not sure if they're going to get it done this year, but I have to imagine they would come close. I mean, you could say this is bad radio.
And we talked about the Super Region 3. The initial rankings came October 28th, and I'm looking at it right now. Fair to say we are number 1, and Grand Valley's number 7 right now. And it's filled, and this list is filled with Central Missouri, Indianapolis, Harding, a team that we've played recently in the playoffs a few times. So, I mean, this is, we're seeing a lot of the familiar teams that we played in the past playoffs. So I think it's going to be a great run. I'm very, I've already said it like a million times on here, but very excited. I think this is tremendous for the school. It's rivalry week, so everybody's hype, and hopefully we just get the dub. I do believe it's going to be a close game because people always say, we're so good and stuff, but rivalry games go either way. Like when you look at Michigan State or Ohio State and Michigan, it's not always necessarily blowouts. Sometimes you do get them, but other times it's close games.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you throw the records out, and I just looked at the attendance record. It was actually set back in 1975 against Saginaw Valley. It's just a little over 12,000, and I mean, what would be better if we're part of that breaking of the record? I know we've got all the social media platforms trying out here to send people to come here, get here early, stay late, get rowdy. This is like, as I said, it's like a second homecoming, which is, it's It's awesome.
I know we're a little bit biased in our picks, but we have reason to. We have the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
We just made the national championship last year and broke a school record for 15 wins, and they've just been on a ridiculous streak. We've been constantly winning GLIAC championships. Anise has been just doing a terrific job with them, and I don't really see anything stopping them. I think they're going to continue to be great. I'm excited. I believe we'll get a 10-point win, or I could see a 2-touchdown win. If I had to make a prediction on the game, a final prediction, I believe we'll win 35-21 over Grand Valley.
35-21. I mean,
what is your prediction?
Well, looking at past games, the weather, I can't imagine the weather is going to be a factor. It's supposed to be actually ironically the warmest day out of the week at 37. So bundle up when you're coming out here. I would just have to think that, judging from the past 2 years, 27-28, 35-31. I mean, I got a feeling maybe the weather plays a factor in this. I think we're going to be running the ball. Not saying that we don't do a very good job with that. I definitely think we are more versed to pass the ball. But looking at the win, I mean, let's just go for a classic 21-14. I think I'm thinking the defense will show out.
So you're thinking low scoring?
Low scoring game. I think that will be there. I think Ferris does get the dub, and I think we go crazy and party Saturday night
and have a good time.
That's right.
And that will be all for episode 5 of Mikes and Takes with me and Barrett. Tune in Friday to get more updates on NFL and NBA. And if you can, make the Ferris State and Grand Valley game. It's going to be a good one. Hopefully Ferris comes out on top. Hope to see you guys all there. And this will be all for Bulldog Radio.